ABC News.
Good morning. This is Barry Serafin in Washington. There are some important, potentially new developments in Moscow today. The Interfax news agency, which is an independent Soviet news agency, says President Gorbachev plans to step down as head of the Communist Party. It also says that Gorbachev will then dissolve the Communist Party. A spokesman for Gorbachev will so far neither confirm nor deny that report. Now, Mr. Gorbachev has been out in public today attending a funeral in Moscow for the 3 people who were killed during this week's attempted coup in that city. They died when tanks tried to crash through the barricades around the so-called Russian White House, the Russian Parliament building. President Gorbachev today vowed there could be no forgiveness for those who seized power briefly this week. Those who follow this path, he said, will get what they deserved. The 3 who died were hailed by both Gorbachev and by Boris Yeltsin as heroes. Now, standing by in Moscow is our Moscow bureau chief, Jim Laurie, to tell us a little more, if he can, about the report today that Mikhail Gorbachev may step down as head of the Communist Party. Jim, what do you know?
Barry, we have not been able to confirm this Interfax report, but we have been able to confirm that since mid-afternoon Moscow time, Mikhail Gorbachev has been in meetings with close advisors inside the Kremlin. And among those present is Alexander Yakovlev. Yakovlev, once one of his closest advisors, left the party last week in protest and has been joining the democratic forces here. Yakovlev has been urging Mr. Gorbachev to give up the post of General Secretary of the party. In fact, a number of more progressive people who are either in the party or formerly with the party have been urging the same thing on Mr. Gorbachev. So sources tell us that it is entirely plausible that Mr. Gorbachev could give up the party general secretariatship. However, they find it more difficult to believe that he would actually dissolve the party. They say that Mr. Gorbachev believes that the Communist Party has the right to exist, just like any other political party in this rapidly changing nation, and that he still feels, as he said a few days ago, that he is a dedicated socialist. So it is possible that he could give up the party leadership. He is under a great deal of pressure at this time. It has also become very clear to him that there are very few people left in the party who are reliable. He's also seen on the streets that there is very little sympathy left for the Communist Party, and this whole process of disintegration of the party has escalated in the last 4 days. Barry?
Jim, if he were to take this step, if he were to actually dissolve the party, especially since even after the coup he's been so tenacious in defending it and clinging to it, would that be yet another sign of the new influence of Boris Yeltsin?
Well, certainly Boris Yeltsin has an aspect of influence here, but I think Mr. Gorbachev is a realist, and I think after his captivity, if you will, he is beginning to see what is going on in the streets, and he cannot overlook the fact that there's hardly anybody out there who has any use any longer for the Communist Party. He may have deep psychological problems in shedding his baggage, if you will, because he has been a dedicated communist for so many years, his father before him, but he must realize that the popular sentiments are against communism. There was a statement today from the Communist Party condemning people for hysterical and unreasonable condemnation of the party. We understand that in order to actually dissolve the party, he would have to call a plenum, a special session of the Central Committee, and that might be called later this week or next.
All right. Thank you very much. Jim Laurie in Moscow. A couple of other notes today. Boris Yeltsin, who has already, in effect, shut down the Communist Party in Russia, took the lead on some other issues. He recognized the independence of the Baltic states of Latvia and Estonia, something he has also urged Mikhail Gorbachev to do. And there is this today. Raisa Gorbachev, said to be distressed by the ordeal that she went through this week during the coup, is ill. That according to a spokesman for President Gorbachev. He was responding to a question about rumors that are going around in Moscow that Mrs. Gorbachev may have suffered a heart attack. Russian reporters who flew to Moscow with the Gorbachevs from the Crimea this week said that Mrs. Gorbachev at that time could not move her left hand. At this point, all we know is that she is, according to a spokesman for her husband, ill. Now, we will be back today as events warrant, and we will have a full wrap-up of all the day's events in Moscow and elsewhere this evening on World News Saturday. In Washington, I'm Barry Serafin.